House Robber 2 is a slight extension of House Robber 1. Remember from the previous question, we have houses on a straight street with some money in each house. And a robber can rob any house except the houses that are next to each other. In this question, the houses are located in a circle so that the first house becomes connected to the second house, which put up a second constraint that we cannot rob the first house and the last house. Let's consider this example. We have four houses, each with value 5335. For house robber 1, we can rob the first house and the last house, so we get 10. And with the additional constraint, we can no longer rob the first house and the last house. So in that case, we can rob the first house and the third house to get the maximum of 8. So let's imagine we already have the function that given a list of numbers representing the money in the house, it returns the maximum amount of money you can rob, which is what we implemented in the first question. So what we need to do here is simply converting the original input into two inputs by removing the first item or removing the last item. And we apply the rob function on each input, and the maximum out of the two is our final answer. So in summary, in House Robber 2, we derived a second constraint in addition to House Robber 1, and we addressed the second constraint by breaking up the input into two, in which the first item and the second item are correspondingly removed. And the inference function for the dynamic programming is exactly the same as in House Robber 1. Let's take a look at the code. So here the rob as the main function, which takes the numbers as a list of integers, and it handles the base conditions when there is only one house or there's none. Note the rob helper takes additional two integers as input. One specifies the start index, the other one specifies the end index. And we break down the original numbers to remove the first item or the last item from the numbers. We just change the start and end index. And eventually we just return the max of the two function calls. Note the rob helper is basically the same function we implemented in House Robber 1, except it takes in two additional inputs, and the inference function for the dynamic programming is exactly the same.